So for more on this, let's bring in the junkscience.com publisher and former Trump 2016 transition team member, Steve Milloy. So Steve, does science show that all the climate change policies significantly increased costs and shifted energy reliance to other countries, made an appropriate change on the climate?
Well, the science shows that even if you believe in the climate hoax, all the emissions cuts that have been done by the world have had no effect. All they've done is raise energy prices. You know, Gavin Newsom was talking about how climate is such a big deal, but California pays the highest prices for gasoline in the lower 48. California has the highest electricity prices, and things are going to get worse in California under Gavin Newsom. What President Trump did last week was the biggest deregulatory move ever, to roll back the 2009 Obama endangerment finding for greenhouse gases. That is going to lower gas prices even further. It's going to lower car prices because now consumers won't be forced with paying higher prices for cars with pointless fuel economy standards. Next up, we have to roll back the endangerment finding for stationary sources like power plants, refineries, oil wells to get electricity prices down.
So the administration is still regulating pollutants, right? I mean, there's still regulations there.
Oh, of course. All they're not regulating are the colorless, invisible, odorless emissions of plant food, carbon dioxide. They're still regulating conventional pollutants. The Democrats that are talking about dirtier air don't know what they're talking about. They talk about how this is a favor to big oil. No, it's not. I've worked in this space for 30 years. Big oil actually opposed Trump's rollback of the endangerment finding because the endangerment finding helps keep gasoline prices high, which is what they like. So, kudos to President Trump. This was a big, bold move in the face of industry pressure not to do it.
So, Steve, somewhat related, multiple oil refineries have closed in the Golden State under Governor Newsom's watch, sending gas prices soaring. So in just the past 15 days or so, the cost of gas in California is up about 40 cents per gallon, opposite of what the rest of the nation is feeling. What's the cause and effect here?
Well, California just has very strict air quality regulations, and mindlessly so. So Californians pay typically $1 more for gasoline than the rest of the country. California requires special blends of gasoline that used to come from within the state, but of course Gavin Newsom is closing down the refinery, so they're going to have to come from out of state, maybe even internationally by ship or by pipeline. Gavin Newsom has talked about having state employees operate the refineries. Well, they've tried that in Venezuela. Look how they operate at 20% efficiency. California is its own worst enemy, and Gavin Newsom has made things worse for all Californians.
Yeah, we know that those words, right? I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. I've seen reports of exactly. I've seen reports of oil being shipped to the Bahamas. You talk about international and being refined there, sent back to California because of the refinery bottleneck. Where's the common sense in some of the decisions that we're seeing?
Well, there's no common sense. Even if you throw them a bone and say, okay, they were right to try all this stuff because we didn't know. Well, now we know. We know what the science is. We know that the economics doesn't work of green stuff. I mean, I can't think of anything green that has ever succeeded in doing anything, either for the environment or for the pocketbook, even though we were promised the contrary. So at this point, I think they just like to torture Californians. I mean, Democrats have power in California. No one is going to be moving them anytime soon. So all you can do is feel sorry for Californians.
Yeah, so the energy policy in California, is it sustainable? I mean, not even talking about the tax policy. Is the energy policy sustainable for folks?
Well, it's incredible that Californians sit back and pay the highest prices for electricity. They don't get anything out of that. They pay the highest prices for gasoline. They don't get anything out of that. All the emissions cuts Gavin Newsom claims to have brought about, they've all gone up in smoke in California wildfires because California will not manage its forests. So it's just lose, lose, lose in California, but you can't get rid of Democrats.
So let's take a step back here. What do you think is the biggest step that this Trump administration has made that has impacted the price of energy that we're seeing?
Well, just by winning in November, prices started coming down because the oil industry investors knew that they'd be able to invest and they would get a return on their money. And now that we have essentially captured Venezuela's oil supply, we are large and in charge of the price of oil globally. It's the first time in history, and prices are going to stay low as long as the situation's like this. I mean, between fracking and having Venezuelan oil, OPEC is totally out of the picture now. So just by getting elected and just having good policies, I mean, the little things, the regulatory moves are all fantastic, and they've got to keep going. They've got to, they've actually got to make the endangerment finding really work, they have to win in the Supreme Court on this and overturn the 2007 decision, Massachusetts versus EPA. But assuming that all that happens, I mean, this is just fantastic.